Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 Last Days of Europe with me, Alpha Pi Omega and the Greater Germanic Reich. So in the last episode we have swayed the Reichskommissariat Ukraine back into the fold of the Einheitspact, and today, boy, this is gonna sound awful, but we have to finish off Ukraine and eliminate the resistance so that we can close off this chapter and focus on the next one, which is Reichskommissariat Caucasian. I actually checked it a couple of times and there was no extra focus tree for that, but there is one now. So we will have to go through it. We'll see whether or not we're gonna go through that one specifically in this episode, because we should also continue working on the Ausbildungs initiative, revitalizing science, and some other things. We know that we won't be able to go with the no exceptions one, because that one, we know that we won't be able to go with the no exceptions one soon, because it requires 75% regime stability, but we need to get that one. And just the Ausbildung initiative itself is going to give us extra 0.45 in GDP growth, which is going to put us very close to about a minus 1% yearly in real GDP growth, which is pretty good, because we sometimes get a little boost here with the fact that we're lowering the debt to GDP. Is, you know, compared to that, we're basically doing fine. I mean, if the GDP drops a bit more, I don't mind if we are able to lower the debt to GDP this much. What I'm worried about is the poverty, but you can see that it pretty much stopped now, at least in the growth, and we know that we have a bit of 0.14. That's not so bad, but most of it is really from the negative real GDP growth. So once we get a positive one, we are going to start lowering poverty rate, hopefully pretty quickly. Now again, we already mentioned it before, there is no way how we can have a basically a deficit that would give us, actually we can. Okay, so that's a new thing. Interesting. So considering we could have a yearly deficit of about 2%, real GDP growth would be, well, we could get to a pretty much zero at that point. But we would be increasing our debt significantly, so let's just keep it as it is right now, and once we get the real GDP growth to a positive number, we are going to address that. Okay, with that said, we need to look into our options here in each one of these. Okay, we can go with the token political promises, so let's get them immediately. That's gonna put us to 43 regime stability, meaning that if we get the vast ones, we might be able to go through with the, I forgot what it's called again. Such a weird name. Ausbildung initiative. The anti-Hitler cabal is fine, and the Sulfur-Ein, yeah, it really refreshes, so there's no point in not going with the civilian and military investment. Just spend the money. I mean, there's really no point in keeping it here, so let's just spend all of it when we can. I'm just gonna put them all back there so that we can restart them when we can. And yeah, the state of the Reich we have in the heart of Russia here, which is the last one, basically meaning we are going to reconquer the Russian Republic. But we'll get to that in time. So now let's unpause it. Our armies are on their way to reconquering Ukraine, which is fine. And we are recruiting some more units, which is also fine. We need to strengthen the first 3 infantry armies that we have and start the 4th and 5th one, as I mentioned before. As far as logistics go, it's gonna take 75 days until we get all of the towed anti-air we need. That's about it pretty much to mention. As far as the Navy goes, we also started a Navy reform. We upgraded some of the frigates, and we'll need to look at the corvettes here, because those are... yeah, and then the cruisers. The B-class one is really good. The K-class is an older one, and we already established that it's even better than the one that we have, which is kind of weird to say, but It is what it is. And we have a bunch of command power. Can I spend it? I don't know if I... We were really pressed for command power before, so I was really frugal with it, and now we can spend some of it. Okay, so we finished the improved military infrastructure 3. The shipping container offers tremendous advantages, especially when it comes to transporting, storing, and supplying our military. Adopting this new technology will provide tremendous logistical advantage. Army base coverage, military spending, and supply consumption is lowered. I don't know why that's red, that should really be green too. So what are we gonna go with next? So we can literally go with nothing here. Infantry... Could get infantry weapon improvements, which is really not bad. Light support artillery, okay, that's also not bad. We're working on the infantry anti-air, the night vision ones. There's a bunch of bonuses here. Now, you know what, let's go with these ones. I'd like to finish the military engineering. So, 50s anti-air launch guns. We're gonna cycle back to our infantry later on when we can. But at this point, there is no point, literally. Okay, so wait, what did we end? I was checking you guys if you had any... No? Looks like we are all good here. So we'll have to look at our admirals. Okay, it's kind of good that we're getting a decent amount of command power. Well, half a point a day. Not something to be excited about, but it's not bad. Okay, so cruiser captain and search pattern. Fighting maintenance, you really don't need that. You have no... not even a single aircraft carrier in the fleet. Okay, the Reich Commissariat Ukraine and their allies have defeated the Republic of Ukraine as the breadbasket of Reich bleeds. No, I'm alive. I will live forever. I have in my heart what does not die. Okay, so what about you? Top. Okay, Silent Hunter. Torpedo Expert. And Concealment Expert. Heinrich Lehmann Willenbrock. Oh, the same. So Silent Hunter, Torpedo Expert, and Concealment Expert. There we go. Now we're burning the command power. Okay, Silent Hunter, Torpedo Expert, and we're done. Cool. So at least we won't allow any of that to go to waste. So Reichskommissariat Ukraine is now at peace, and so are we. Oh, and we got some free production units out of that. Awesome. So you guys should really go to the border with Russian Republic. Actually, no, that's dumb. We already have some units over there, so we're gonna defend the southern part. And you guys... Actually, we have you guys here that there's no point. So let's put you at the border with Romania. Actually, there's no point doing that either. Let's just put you like that because Hungary, Poland, and Ukraine are all in our sphere of influence, so there is no point in not doing that. Cool. Cool. And we have free production units. Did we get more, or is the game confused again? No, we literally got more. Okay, let's go with 1775. Which means we have factories. No, which means we have more than... Ah, okay, 74 out of 75. So I can assign an additional factory somewhere. I'm gonna be conservative here and go with basic anti-air, because we're gonna distribute those factories later on down the line anyway. So why not? How are we doing on the fuel? Oh, we're getting 240 from refineries already. Have we finished that sulfur iron thing? We did! Okay. Nice. It's not there anymore. Cool, so sulfur iron is really good for us. I like that mechanic. So what should be our focus now? When we're talking about the infantry, that is definitely something that I like. In the land of the rising sun, the Japanese have never disguised their distrust and even outright loathing for us in the past 2 decades. Our alliance in the Tripartite Pact was born of little more than convenience and deterrence against the United States, which became moot once the Japanese declared war on them and Hitler dragged us into it. As a rival fascist power, the Japanese naturally see us as a threat and a challenge to their rule, never mind the fact that our sphere of influence barely overlap at all. Our recently friendly overtures towards their arch-enemy may actually have made this enmity even worse. Still, Schmidt had a job to do, and performed it admirably given the circumstances. Welcomed to the Diet by the Prime Minister, though snubbed by the Emperor, he made an impassioned speech calling for an end to senseless rivalry and for the Japanese to recognize our goodwill and peaceful intentions towards the Empire of Japan. He was met with polite, if somewhat muted, applause. To be expected, of course, but at least he wasn't given the silent treatment. The Führer remains skeptical that relations with the Japanese will ever be normalized, but this was a necessary step to take in our journey towards a positive image on the world stage. If we cannot be seen as willing to reconcile with even our most vicious rival, we will never be trusted as a global actor. So we use a bit of tensions. Yeah, friend of yours and enemy of my enemy. Okay, so we basically are choosing. If we're liberal, we side with the United States. If we're conservative, we side with Japan in the future. Or, I mean, side. We get closer to them, basically. Hey, looky here! Real GDP growth is down to minus 0.818. So, wait. If we increase something here, it would still not work. But if we would actually get that, what if I want to something like this? Nah, that doesn't. Then it doesn't matter really. Okay, well, but you know, doing even better than before. Victory for the Democratic Cristiana or Christiana, depending on the pronunciation. That's Italy, right? Yep, Christian liberalism. Aldo Moro. In the first democratic elections for Italy since the 1920s, the centrist party Democrazia Cristiana has managed to secure a majority of seats in parliament. Former university professor Aldo Moro was chosen as the new prime minister of the country, promising to ensure a peaceful and prosperous future for a democratic Italy. Catholic, liberal and progressive, Moro has already achieved high popularity among the Italian population. The DC's plan, Democrazia Cristiana, include reforming the education system and liberalizing the economy while expanding welfare reforms and ending the remnants of fascist policies. Moro's victory in the final step in Italy's process for democratization, and the Prime Minister has received congratulations from the leaders of all countries of the free world. That might be it, but how are you gonna treat the colonies as a democratic nation? That really doesn't go well together. Having colonies and being democratic are, well, if not complete antonyms, they really don't go well together. But hey, what do I know? I'm just playing the game. 96.1. Nice. 96.1. Diplomatic training was finished. Hey, and look at that. Poverty rate is now down to 0.06%, so virtually not increasing at all. Well, okay, it is increasing by 0.06. I know, but we'll address that. So, State of the Reich. We could do the vast political promises here, but they would not help. We already lost some regime stability, so we need to wait until we get the rest. The Kazakh Soviet Socialist Republic declared war on the Polish Autonomous Soviet Socialist Republic. Oh no. Nowa Polska. I am so sorry. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. What I was kind of surprised by the way, was the fact that the Colombian Revolutionary Union is about the same strength as New Granada. New Granada has 17 divisions and about 100,000 men, And Colombian Revolution Union has 14 and 73,000 men. So actually New Granada is stronger. Something to keep in mind. So the saying goes, at least, Japan is certainly a military and economic juggernaut, but it is also xenophobic, isolationist, and paranoid in the extreme. Okay, so the enemy of my enemy. That's what this is referring to. They will never regard us as equals, as much due to their so-called Pan-Asianism as to our contrived rivalry. We will continue pursuing a thaw in relations, but it is clear that trying to rebuild our old ties with Japan is a complete waste of time. No matter, the Wehrmacht is all Germany needs to defend herself. We will be better off without an arrogant, far-flung ally dragging us down with them. In line with Schmidt's sound reasoning, the United States will be our main focus in diplomacy. Perhaps this is for the best, as we have far more in common with them than with the Japanese. They might be corrupt plutocrats, but the Americans are still Europeans at heart, with plenty of honest German heritage. If we can smooth over the ongoing tensions in Africa and start exchanging goods again, perhaps the geopolitical tables can be turned on Japan. It would not inconvenience us to see their exploitative empire fall, and free nations emerge from the ruins. Okay, so tensions with Americans are further decreased. That's really good. I wonder what the Friends of Yor say, because that's gonna give us a nice little view on the same issue, but from two optics. Where would we be today without Japan? As much as we might dislike them now, our combined might code the Americans. That's a weird word, code the Americans and shatter the illusion of their invincibility. Furthermore, the American economy is in deep depression while Japan is going from strength to strength. It would be much more beneficial to hitch our wagon to the stronger superpower and pursue renewed cooperation. Schmidt, for his part, strongly discourages the fear from working closely with Japan. Unlike the United States, they are far more open and belligerent, owing to their aggressive pan-Asianist and anti-colonial stance. The reality of this cannot be denied, but they offer a truly enormous amount of military power and economic potential for us. If the Berlin-Tokyo axis were to be reborn, the Americans would find it significantly harder to undermine us. Schmidt insists that this will only escalate tensions and push us further away from the Americans, who have far less interest in war. But what does he know? Okay, so that is written from two perspectives, but still with a single goal in mind. We can do the synthetic oil investment again. Don't mind if I do, that is actually an amazing idea. The sulfur iron. Do we want to do the We Are Not Alone? I guess we do. We are not alone. Okay, let's see what that one is gonna give us. There's no point in waiting for the political speech and other stuff. Vast political promises will get us now to 49.7. So if we get the token ones and the, what's it called? The political speech, we will be fine. Letters from the front. Wilhelm was giddy with excitement as he entered the museum. A museum! His first trip outside the city without his parents. His class had won a visit to the newly opened Bürgerkrieg Museum in Hamburg, and now 25 boys between 9 and 10 years old, along with 2 teachers, had left Eimshorn for the great metropolis. Everyone was in awe at what they saw. Each room had its theme. Urban warfare with reconstructed trenches, politics with an analysis of what caused the Civil War, espionage with the tactics used by soldiers or military men to their with tactics used by the contenders to gain the upper hand. Finally, the last room's theme was letters from the front, with hundreds of missives sent by soldiers or militiamen to their dear ones during the war. Wilhelm looked at one of these cases and started reading. Dear Kriemhild, I miss you so much. You have no idea how much I would like to return to you, but I can't. Heydrich has sent his wolves. Do you remember the small restaurant where we dined during our last holiday? They hanged half of the village outside there. The rest are digging trenches for the SS. I won't let this happen to you. I swear it upon my life. They'll probably attack tomorrow, and I'll be ready. I keep your photo next to my heart. If I'll die with your name on my lips. I love you. A small plaque said, Eberhard Jenk, killed in action. Wow. Wilhelm trembled at the words he has just read and asked his teacher, "Teacher, who was Heydrich?" The teacher's expression immediately turned sour, but he looked calmly at the boy and answered, "Heydrich was a man who wanted to see the world burn, and he was committed to see his desires realized. Tell me, Wilhelm, do you want it too? Do you want to see the world burn?" "No," said the child. "I want a happy world. I want to go with Mama and Papa to have fun." The teacher's face turned jovial again, and he chuckled, patting the boy's head. "Come now, it's late." Then he raised his voice. "Class, time to go. I hope the visit was instructive. War is hell. Enemy of my enemy." Oh, we can... Well, let's not do that now, but... we lost the stability. Enemy of my enemy. The United States. Speer finally said, opening his eyes and setting his hands down on his desk. "You're right on this count, Schmidt. We need their economic clout on our side." Schmidt breathed a sigh of relief and nodded. "Thank you, my Führer. I promise you this is the right path. They're normal." Damn, so many events. Speer chewed his lip, looking a little skeptical. True, but they won't stop trying to subvert our interests. Don't forget that we've been on hostile terms for decades now, and that history won't go away just because you enjoyed some applause while you were over there. "I know, my Führer," Schmidt replied with a slight offended edge to his voice. But they also operate in a manner we're more familiar with, and our two societies are more alike than they are different. The Japanese, though, trying to build normal relations with them, even if it's not totally futile, might just make them more confident in their own broken system. Can you imagine if we get dragged into another war because of them? If you ask me, we should keep them at arm's length, my Führer." Speer nodded and scratched his chin. "Yes, I understand. Skin. Well, skin on his chin. Yes, I understand, but still, the Japanese still match the Americans in their military might. Isn't there some value in deterrent?" "Deterrent? Yes, my Führer. Forgive my frankness, but we already have a deterrent. It's called our nuclear arsenal. Conventional armies don't have the clout that they used to. Trust me, Erhard is right. The economic benefits of trade with the United States will far outweigh anything the Japanese can offer, and we can't be seen to associate with the Japanese if they take a turn towards aggression again." "I've already made the decision, Schmidt," Speer remarked, relaxing a little. "Don't fret. Tell your men at the Foreign Office to get to work, and contact Erhard too. We still have a long way to go before we start seeing forts on the Autobahn. Two eagles shall fly together." The Great Romanian Game. Is there a new game? Oh, there will be a new game, probably. The domestic situation in Romania is heating up. More or less isolated from any of the great powers of the world since the end of the Second World War, Romania has kept itself clear from the German and Italian influences for over 2 decades. Though the great market crash did hurt the Romanian economy, the government used the situation to their advantage and managed to claw back all of their lost positions from Hungary. King Mikhail I even managed to claw his way into the top echelon of government, where he promptly banned the fanatical Iron Guard from participating in government. Although this move gave him de facto political control over the country, the reality of the situation is that Romania is a deeply divided state. A plethora of far-right groups operate in secrecy, biding their time and growing their roots as rogue Iron Guard partisans terrorize the countryside and any non-Romanians. The situation has recently worsened as another surge of terrorist activity racks the nation. This time, however, the chaos has caught the attention of both Italy and Germany. Oh yeah, we're gonna get you, Romania. Who both sense that perhaps now is the time to expand their influence to the neutral country. For once, it is perhaps the Italians who have the advantage. King Mikhail and his immediate cabinet, while cordial to the Reich, refuse to deepen ties with a regime that is akin to the Iron Guard. Italian investors and military mission will likely see a lot of success in the coming days. That isn't to say the Germans have nothing to work with, however. Rumors are starting to circulate that the Nazis are supporting the Iron Guard and the other far-right underground parties in the state. For better or worse, Romania is now the next unwilling participant in the great game. Oh, baby, keep it coming. So, first of all, here. Still can only hold speech. And then we have the vast political promises. But the Italo-German great game. Oh, I love this minigame so much. Okay, but this time we're gonna be the one probably having a harder position. Hungary and Romania, ever since the Italy and the Reich split from each other, these nations have been the target of constant diplomatic game of influence, a game that continues to this game. Okay, so this description is exactly the same thing. Re-establish ties with the Iron Guard. Re-establish our ties with the Iron Guard. 60 days. So we can locate Iron Guard bases. If we are going to re-establish our ties with our old friends in Romania, we will need to find where they're operating out of. The Iron Guard has been operating underground for nearly a decade now. Finding them could prove to be difficult, but it is essential we do so. So this would require 20 command power and it gives us 2 to 4 points. Pledge to help the Guard. As it stands, without foreign help, the Iron Guard will never be able to sit at the proverbial table. The monarchy is happy to sideline the Romanian right wing, since it doesn't conform to Mihail's degeneracy. The Guard will know that the Reich will have its back in reclaiming their rightful place in Romania. So that gives us 1 to 3 points. Establish radio connections. We need a fast and reliable way to communicate with the Iron Guard. To this end, we can smuggle some of our agents across the border to give the necessary equipment to our potential friends. So 1 to 4 points. And find the guardsman in plain sight. Not every Iron Guardsman is a freedom fighter based out of the hills and forests. There are a large number of regular, everyday citizens who have renounced their old beliefs and comrades and have reintegrated back into society. Naturally, many of these people act as the eyes and ears of the underground movement. Connecting with these agents would be a good first step to get in touch with the Iron Guard's leadership. Okay, so not great options here. We have 2 to 4 points, 1 to 3, and 1 to 4. So logically, this one is most likely going to give us 3. So is this one. If we get 2, we are fine, because then we would be able to get easily this one, or I would maybe risk it and get the radio connections, because that one could push us to a good place. If we start with this one, 3 to 4. Well, we could still score 4, meaning we would be at 9, which would force the Italians to play a bit further. Oh, this is hard. Well, I still think we need to choose locate the Iron Guard bases or find the guardsmen in plain sight. Let's start by locating them. That's, gonna give us the best option here. And we still can't do anything there. Let's hope that we can get... Let's remove this and look at the decisions of the State of the Reich. Yeah, hold speech, still nothing else. Okay, so let's end this episode by going with We Are Not Alone. Reinhard Galen was not an impressive man to behold. Thin-faced with prominent ears, he was not the sort of fellow one would expect to hold a tremendously successful record as the former head of a foreign armies east, a military intelligence until active during the war against the Soviets. Nor could he be counted as a particularly dedicated ideologue. What he was, however, was loyal, ruthless, and utterly dedicated to his nation, having continued his own intelligence operation against the Bolsheviks even after their defeat. In Speer's estimation, he was not only brilliant, but also a true German patriot, which was why he had been invited to the lofty halls of power to discuss a certain proposal of his. Speer relaxed a little, sensing nothing but respectful deference from the neatly dressed man with his quaint bowler hat. "So, Herr Galen," he said, steepling his fingers. I understand that on top of all this information you've brought me, you have an idea for how to deal with the matter of internal security. Please speak your mind. Gavin hesitated for a moment before visibly relaxing and leaning into the desk. My Führer, it's no secret in intelligence circles that you are seeking to reign in the Gestapo and Abwehr. If I may be so bold, they are indeed in poor shape. They could neither prevent the civil war nor rein in the dissident factions within the Reich. Speer's face remained inscrutable. Go on. After the war, the Americans changed tack. Their wartime organization, the OSS, became the foundation of the CIA. They learned from their mistakes, adjusted accordingly, and now they're drastically outpacing us in the field of intelligence. The same goes for the Japanese as well as for every second-rate power in the world. We need something else, a new intelligence agency for the modern era. Speer pondered this for a moment. Interesting idea. Do you have anything more concrete for me? Gavin nodded. He hauled his briefcase up onto the desk and clicked it open, producing an overstuffed manila envelope with Reichsanschrift Enddienst. Wait. Reichsnachricht Enddienst. Dienst? Ah, okay. Reichsnachrichtendienst. Ah, got it, finally. Reichsnachrichtendienst. Scrawled on the front. I do indeed, my Führer. Would you like to know more? How long has he been planning this? And Ireland is moving away from the pact. Oh, come on. It seems that the inhabitants of the Emerald Isle are suffering from a clear lack of judgment. Maybe the current economic crisis makes them incapable of making rational decisions, for those cheap drinks they consume are producing a collective delusion. Whatever the case, the Oireachtas has voted the Pact Observer Bill to change the status of Ireland inside the Pact from Bundespartei to Pact Observer. Despite Dublin assuring us that they are not planning to withdraw from our alliance, they can't fool anyone with their lies. It is clear as day that they are aiming to move away from our orbit. This blatant attempt at defection in front of our own faces is even more insulting, considering they pretend to have all the economic benefits of being under wing without any of the commitments to keep Europe at peace. We need to let the Irish know that there would be consequences of this reckless action, and that approaching the Overfen will result in drastic response. The Irish are not really getting it. So wait, are you? No, they actually left already. Okay, well, I wonder what we're gonna do with that. Anyway, in the next episode we are going to continue with our goals. We need to wait for the token reforms to appear, but then we might be able to try to get especially quickly, the Ausbildung initiative, which is going to boost our GDP and maybe even get us to something like 0, which would be great. I think that currently the poverty rate is barely increasing, yeah, so if we get the negative GDP rate growth to a positive, we don't even need to get it to positive, we need to just lower it a bit more, and then the poverty will stop increasing, and then we can turn it on its head. So, thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next episode where we are going to continue the story of Greater Germanic Reich and especially the new great game.